Hello. 1 second. Let me just pause the verbs there. Okay. Yeah. Alright. What? There we go. Okay. Yeah. I decided to weirdly full screen OBS, like going outside of the parameters of the screen. I don't know. Anyway, hi, hello, greetings, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to the stream. As you can see from yonder over here, we are working on the prison healer. Now, through chapter 7 is only that far in. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, yeah. 1 sec. I was gonna set this up so we could just have a reference thing. Okay, 1 sec. Article. There you are. No, that's not gonna work. Come on. No. It's being a pain. Okay. There we go. So we'll get to that later. Back here. Yeah. It was already live, and then I remembered that I hadn't done that. So, this is an interesting story so far. So, in the prologue here, first off, anyone have any particular thoughts or observations that... Yeah, let's not click the exit button right now, thanks. Thoughts, observations, whatever's that you want to bring up before we dive right in, or just go for it. One sec. Just had a thought. And yeah. Okay. Interesting. So if we're going off of that, which species is this? Okay, so I don't know how well it showed up when I was trying to work with the Google Doc a second ago, but I made a note of all the plants mentioned in the first 7 chapters in here. But the cover was kind of interesting. So it looks like I'm not overly familiar with the different jasmine species, admittedly. But this might be the common jasmine. But if you look at where is it? If you look at the central flower there and the leaf patterning, it looks a lot like jasmine. Stylized, and the reproductive parts are very much not in the same alignment, but interesting. But that one hasn't been mentioned yet in the first couple of chapters, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And of course, that just got lost. Okay. Where are you? And okay. There we go. Okay. So the page that I was just on is now in the Discord under because science. Yeah, it looks a lot like the jasmine. Also, yeah, I was aware of the underwhelmedness, but like if there was anything else that you wanted to toss in there first. Otherwise, we can just kind of dive in. All right. So, uh, wait a second. Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know how it translates in the audio, but... Oh, yeah, that's what it is. But in the book itself, the physical copy, we've got a cipher situation, and that's what it looks like written out. So, however it's described, or if it's just like it was written in code, because that's the text that goes along with it. So for this, it's okay. So each character is a letter. So we've got, where is it? We are safe. Stay alive. We are coming. That's what that says. And then in 7, okay, they just tell you it's in code. Okay. So in 7, when they find the rebel queen, or the rebel queen is captured, whatnot, the text, it translates to "Don't let her die, we are coming," and that's what you see on the back there. That's, yeah. So interesting. Which, I don't know if it's because it's just like a cipher thing, or if it's symbols that are associated with particular whatevers. But, like, I don't remember what the code was that I came up with, but I know that some of these symbols were part of a code that I came up with when I was like 8. 8 or 10. Which threw me off when I first saw it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So there's that. Yeah. So we're following Kiva, who is the prison healer, who has been the prison healer since she was 12, because the person who was the person that she was working under up until that point was executed for trying to get what I'm guessing is pain meds to prisoners. Because they just call it angel dust. So poppy milk, I'm guessing, is just straight opium. Because that's referenced in there a lot. And angel dust, if we've got poppies in this universe, then there, what? Okay, one sec. You are aware that slang for, okay, yeah, no, I couldn't remember if it was heroin or cocaine. So yeah, like, at which point, yeah, so heroin would be another opiate, so okay, yeah. I couldn't remember which of the narcotics it was at that point. Like, it's a powdery substance. So, yeah. Okay. while we're on the subject, I'll just switch over to, where is it? Over to here. So, for a second, I'm not going to be able to see the chat, but I'll flip back through it. So we've got jerryberries and aloeweed that are the only two introduced in the prologue, where Kiva and her family are relatively safe, just kind of chilling and collecting plants and stuff. Like, they're collecting the berries to make pies, and it's all happy and whatever, and then you hear screams from the house up on a hill away from where they are, and start to see how not so great the world that they're in is. And that's on, like, page 2. And at that same point, the brambles that at first hold berries and are nice because they have the berries, are also preventing them from fleeing. So there's that. Should we feel weird that we know all this drug info? No. I mean, like, it's useful and interesting and makes good writing material. Yeah, go with that. It's fine. And we've got aloeweed that has a soothing gel for healing, so it's aloe. It's just aloe. Really. We've got Balico sap that Balico sap and pepperroot ash that are introduced in the first couple of pages of the first chapter, like the first page of the first chapter, because it opens with Kiva working with someone, carving into someone's hand, because that's the language that is used to describe marking prisoners as big inmates of... I keep reading it and don't remember what it's called. Zalandov. Which... the point was brought up, right? If you're going to have a standard mark for all the people in a particular spot, and you need to, like, from their perspective, I guess, you need to mark the inmates for whatever reason. Would not a brand be a better option than a scalpel? On top of which, if you're carving into something, it's like a deep gouge, and in here, the mark being delivered is a Z on the back of the hand to show that the inmates are property of, quote-unquote, property of the prison. So, like, if you try and carve anything in there, You're cutting through a whole mess of like tendons and ligaments and general connective tissue and stuff, and it would make the healing process a massive pain. B, you run the risk of really debilitating the person that it's being done to. And C, it's just not like time efficient and stuff. Like if it's a brand and it's done properly, in theory, it self-cauterizes because it's hot metal and it's just and you're done. Versus incisions. I don't know. Anyway, pepperroot ash sounds an awful lot like capsaicin, which in our opinion means the author didn't do her research because it's weak sauce at best and irritating at worst. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to figure out what the Balico sap could be, but I'm not seeing anything so far, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But, pepperroot ash to ease pain. Yeah. Yeah, if it's capsaicin, it wouldn't work as a pain reliever. It would just... It might take your mind off of a particular pain by giving you, like, a rash, but there you go. Okay, yeah, no, that, I can see that. I can see Balico being honey at that point. Calling it sap was throwing me off, but alright, yeah, we'll go with that. That can work. Okay. So, of course I spelled it wrong. Okay. But yeah, the closest to jerry berries that I'm saying is like, I mean, it'd be a bramble type berry. I don't know of any berries that are silver per se, but like, probably kind of a blackberry sort of thing, because I wouldn't associate that with raspberry, but blackberry is routinely a pie type thing. So. Which would work better than sap because it can be liquefied easily. Yeah, exactly. because sap at that point would be a resin. So if you're trying to apply a resin to a wound, like, it might work if it's, like, meant to words. I don't know, glue it together or something to, like, I don't know, reinforce stitches, I guess. But just in and of itself, maybe not. Yeah. Yeah, when I made a note of this, it hadn't, like, it was just mentioned in passing, and then it was Jaren, there we go. It was kind of solidified that it was a heavy narcotic, and likely had the same principles as our universe's angel dust, or at least similar properties. When Kiva was trying to get Jaren to take some kind of pain meds, and there was mention of, like, well, maybe he was addicted to it at one point, or maybe he had a really bad reaction, or maybe he knew someone who was addicted to poppy milk and angel dust. Like, just I realize that heroin and opiates in general are used in medical practice, like, but hearing it referred to as, like, with, like, this street drug name in a medical context is weird. Just weird. There is such a thing as medical grade honey. Oh, that's good to know. Now used in the burn unit. Okay. Yeah, no, because I know honey that's like an ancient one. It is an ancient remedy. But no, I didn't know that there was a medical grade sort of thing. That is cool. Okay. So, and then we've got just mentions of some of the natural bits, with, like, the wild meadow, the crueling swamplands, and the crying woods. And from what I know of fantasy, the crying woods would probably be, like, either there's some kind of spirit thing in there, or wild animals that make, like, a crying sound as part of, like, a hunting call, or it's just, like, the wind blowing through the trees makes a particular sound. Swamps are kind of a thing. So it is interesting that one of the things that they have to get through to get to the prison is actually, I'm thinking about it. They're all kind of transition points. Because Swamplands, it's, if you look at the hash willow is clearly a salicylic acid source like regular willow. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Um, if you look at like lore and stuff, we've got like swamps and bogs and things are associated with water. Well, it's a convergence of all of the four traditional elements. Because you've got water, because it's an area that was at one point a lake, or it was a body of water, so there is water there. There's earth, in the plant debris and everything that has settled in there. There's fire because of the expelling gases, and there's air because it is present. And adds the gases. And you have that's a point of peril. And it's also like that convergence is kind of part of why traditionally bogs and wider swamplands are places that offerings were. Apple, what are you doing? One sec. No, I don't need to update iTunes. That's one of the reasons that sacrifices and offerings and things were made in bogland areas. That's why when peat is being harvested, a lot of times there's artifacts and sometimes human remains, animal remains that are uncovered in there. Because it was like, okay, everyone is here. We need X, so therefore have a thing, have whatever it is. And that element is less of a thing in like woodland areas and meadows and stuff. But meadows are a transition between like just straight open land and forest, and the woods traditionally are also a offering point kind of situation. So once again, probably reading far too much into any of that, but that's kind of how I do at this point. So there we go. If nothing else, impromptu discussion on ritual practice, at least in European areas, because that's where most of my knowledge on that comes from. So there's that. Also, yeah, you bring up a good point, Honeycomb, that is entirely possible that the Crying Woods are a rainforest sort of situation. Hashwillow. Okay. Ah! Stop it. Stop. Moving. So much. I can't remember what it what the term was for a second. Yeah. Also, yeah, the yellow nut might well be betel nut. Okay, so, no, yes, what are you doing? Okay, yeah, alright. One sec. So we've got okay. Alright, so for the poppy milk one, the best I can figure is when the poppies get I guess closer to having the seed pod be fully ripe. They have, well, is it? Does it just? Yeah. As far as I'm aware, at least, they kind of have like natural splits. It might be a man-made thing because there's situations where it's across the grain instead of down, but all the images that I've seen, it's at very particular intervals, so therefore leads me to deduce, at least, that that is something that naturally happens. And the sap that is being emitted has opiate properties just like the rest of the plant does. So, or the rest of the seed pod at least. So there is that. Okay. Then we've got the hash willow that, as Honeycomb was saying, seems to be a salicylic acid source, like our known willow species. That is the white willow would have been, or is the natural form of aspirin, but then it doesn't help with nausea, so still not entirely sure on that one. Yeah. Yellow nut. Those are man-made slits, pretty sure. Okay, yeah. Because I know, in poppy farms, sometimes they go out and slit the seed pods. And sometimes they don't, but yeah, okay. Wait, let me see. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. Because that would explain why it's on the ridge, not the valley, too. Because if it's on the ridge, then there's more tension, so it expels the sap more. But it would make more sense if it's a seed pod. It would make more sense if it was slitting along the ridge line or the valley here, because then it's just a segment coming apart. So okay, yeah, we'll go with that. That makes more sense then. Okay. Let me see. No, come on. Alright. Come. Yeah, okay. Does it have a picture of nuts? No, it doesn't. Okay, well. Where's that? Why do that? Come on. Is that even gonna... Okay. Okay. It's better to collect seeds from unscored pods because scoring may diminish the quality of seeds. Okay. If we're going to 10. There we go. Okay. Scoring, also called lancing or incising or tapping, begins about 2 weeks after the flower petals fall from the pods. The farmer examines the pod and the tiny crown portion at the top of the pod very carefully before scoring. The grayish-green pod will become a dark green color as it matures, and it will swell in size. If the points of the pod's crown are standing straight out or curved upward, the pod is ready to be scored. If the crown's points point downward or if the crown's points turn downward, the pod is not yet ready for scoring. Not yet fully matured. Not all plants in the field will be ready for scoring at the same time, and each pod can be tapped more than once. A set of 3 or 4 small blades of iron, glass, or glass splinters bound tightly together on a wooden handle is used to score 2 or 3 sides of the pod in a vertical direction. If the blades cut too deep into the wall of the pod, the opium will flow too quickly and will drip to the ground. Okay, yeah. So it's a prolonged collection method, basically. If the incisions are too shallow, the flow will be too slow and the opium will harden in the pods. A depth of about 1 millimeter is desired for the incision. Using a blade tool designed to cut to that depth, scoring ideally starts in late afternoon so the white latex-like raw opium can ooze out and slowly coagulate on the surface of the pod overnight. If the scoring begins too early in the afternoon, the sun will cause the opium to coagulate over the incision and block the flow. The opium oxidizes, darkens, and thickens in the cool night air. Early the next morning, the opium gum is scraped from the surface of the pods with a short-handled flat iron blade 3 or 4 inches wide. Okay, yeah. Which, good to know. Yeah. Now I want to know if the poppy the priest slits for milk in Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet is actually an opium poppy or some other kind of poppy for a similar effect. I mean, it... I hadn't realized that opium was a known entity at that point, but as we're, you know, okay, good to know with the dropping frames. As we saw in stuff like The Serpent's Tail, it would have been at least, like, even if it was imported in that particular story, even if it was kind of embellished and the main character, who I can't remember the name of right now, imported it herself for her own use, it was known in Italy. And Oh, come on. It was known in Italy, and if Romeo and Juliet was taking place in Italy, then it stands to reason that that might be the case. So, is possible. Is possible indeed. Yeah. So we've got that. Interesting. We mean there's an actual scene in the film where the priest scores what appears to be an opium poppy. Was it actually an opium poppy on set? Ah, that I don't know. Let's see. Well, and the computer machine is being slow. Alright. Ah, there we go. Uh, Of course not. Okay. Yeah, that one. Maybe. Let's see. Here. Okay. See you in a bit, guys. Huh. Okay. No. Alright. I'm not seeing anything with that. Alright. I don't know. Actually, with all that, got distracted from there actually being other plants. Alright, here we go. Welcome back, Honeycomb. Yeah, so, yeah. And then we've got wine that's apparently used for embalming. When they attempt embalming, which, with the high turnover rate of people in the vicinity, having a standing use of a crematorium would make more sense logistically than trying to bury everyone or whatnot. But like, okay, love that version of Romeo and Juliet. I don't think I've seen it since high school. Because we were doing Romeo and Juliet in freshman year, and our teacher wheeled in the giant TV, and we watched like 3 different versions, I think, over the span of a couple of weeks. But yeah. Are there herbal antiemetics, anti-motion sickness? Motion sickness specifically, I don't know. But I know ginger is supposed to help with nausea. Admittedly, like, I don't tend to get motion sick, so therefore it's not been prominently on my radar all that much. But I do know that ginger operates about the opposite as it's supposed to for me. Unless it's like baked into a cookie or something. Like if it's ginger snaps, then like we're good. But yeah. See they who have it practically memorized. I mean, like I know ginger is very much an anti-nausea, but I also very distinctly remember being on a bus and being real nauseous, and the ginger, it might have been the ginger, it might have been just chewing something at all, but that was the catalyst for whatever the last meal that I had to return to the world, shall we say. You don't get motion sick, look at you. It depends. If I'm traveling, like if the road's bumpy, then it happens a lot more. Or a lot more potentially. And if I'm traveling, like the first day or so, of the period, then all bets are off. Which, incidentally, is what was happening at that point. So, yeah. Yeah, no, at that point, like, I was in England, and the only thing registering, because I already didn't feel good, the only thing registering was like, oh yeah, ginger's supposed to help with nausea. and I was on a bus, and we happened to stop at, like, a roadside thing, and there was, like, candied ginger or something. So, yeah, that, So it could have just been one more irritant on a stress system. Yeah. Which, like, just, real talk for a second here. There's times that, and I know it's a stress response. I've worked that out over the last couple decades. But when there's some kind of stressor, like any number of things can set off that response. So, like, including the presence of sound and light and whatever else. So, there's that. Oh no, would have hauled you off the bus. Yeah. Yeah. The only issue with that, because like I was thinking it at that point, but the only issue with that is then I would have been stuck in a busy terminal and had to find another way to get up north. Because like it was one of those that I wasn't feeling all that great, and then we stopped for lunch or bathroom break or whatever it was. And everyone kind of walked around, like, oh yeah, okay, well I'm feeling a little bit better, yeah, all right, and sat back down, and like, okay, I was doing all right. Now I'm not doing so good. Okay, I'll have some of the ginger. Yeah, okay. Not 5 minutes later. Yeah. Opposite of us, then rarely actually. Yeah. Yeah. No. If I can control the environment that I'm in, then it's not so much of a thing. If that option is removed and I can't block out sensory input, it's gonna happen. But yeah, it's um a light sound scent thing for that. And at least half the time it's just like, oh, you're doing fine, okay. No, you're not. Like, so fun times. Yeah. Do you think hermits are maybe on the autism spectrum? I don't know. It depends. It depends, I would say, on why they're hermits. Because control sensory environment. Yeah, like, I can see why that would be a thing. And if not autism spectrum, then maybe like some other um, situation where you have a similar sensory processing issue. I know I've heard folks talk about that who have ADHD. But that might well be a factor. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Between that and people being annoying is kind of why I wanted to go live in the woods by myself when I was a kid. So, there's that. Yeah. Incidentally, part of why I was reading My Side of the Mountain, I think. In some tangential way. Okay. So, back to the last plant thing in the book here for a second. Right, we've got all these plants that seem to have some kind of variation in our reality, or are just called something different, like the poppy milk and the yellow nut and stuff. And we've got the angel dust that's just straight up heroin. And then we're down here and they've entered the morgue and just thyme, rosemary, and lavender. Okay. So far, those are the only names that have not been changed for whatever reason. Whether it's because she wants to just use the known associations with those plants, or what, I don't know. But if we're going with that, all three, thyme, rosemary, and lavender, are fumigants and antimicrobial. Lavender, I've never heard have any connection to funerary rites, but thyme and rosemary sometimes are. Rosemary is also associated with knowledge, I believe. It's like, just because it's easier and faster to look it up on the phone. Than it is the computer right now. Member of the mint family. Memory. Yeah. Rosemary is meant to improve blood circulation and boost the immune system, which, like, you're in the morgue, that's not going to work for the patient, at least. It might for the mortician. But it is a good cleansing thing. Yeah. Yeah. During Sean's latest adventures in History Stream, we thought of the following. I'm not a loser living in my mom's basement. It's a hermitage. Fair. Maybe hash willow is ginger plus aspirin. Maybe. Maybe. Also, if I remember right, am I thinking of the right plant? That's the question. One sec. Okay. So, indica variants of cannabis are known as hash sometimes. And I know cannabinoids are sometimes used to help with nausea, especially with, like, if you're going through chemo and stuff. So, if it's hash willow, especially because they seem to be using a lot of psychoactives in this location. There's that. How did I not spell that right? I work with this plant like all the freaking time, and I didn't spell it right. Yeah. They replaced all the elevator buttons at the infusion center, now made of something called nanoseptic. Interesting. I'm guessing that's like, it's supposed to be, like, have an antimicrobial coating, or be made of something that's, like, not meant to. The only word I'm coming up with is be tactile, but it's a button. It's supposed to be tactile. That's the point. Not retain germs and viruses. Yeah. Antimicrobial, antiviral. That's what I was looking at. Anyway. But yeah. That's cool. I mean, so long as they function as the buttons that they're supposed to be, that's cool. Yeah. So, come on. There we go. Yeah. Alright. Yeah. And I know that like, there are certain practices that are employed in a majority of prison systems, or what have you. But between the age and a perceived wrongdoing, I guess, in this. It's like the what's it called? The Zalandov? Yeah, the Zalandov prison, and maybe just all the prisons in the system, I don't know. We don't know that yet. We just know about Zalandov. Mostly because that's been Cuba's reality for the last decade. But at least there, it seems like a combination of a max security prison, because there's like murderers and whatever else there, and an internment camp of some description. And there's, if you look at history, and including, modern history, not just, way back in the day. But if you look across history, depending on which example you're looking at, because internment camps, concentration camps, however you want to describe them, have existed in a lot of capacities over the years, whether it's a place like Auschwitz, which is what I was saying when Kiva was doing a tour of the place. Like, I remember being on site at Auschwitz and Birkenau, and the layout and the descriptions of the crematorium and things felt like a combination of the two. And then, ow! We've got where? One sec. Yeah. And we've got the instances of internment camps in the US, either well, for any number of groups of people, really. I can't remember. It starts with an M, and I can't remember what the location was. Need to read that again. But yeah. Alright. One wonders why society needs Zalandov, or thinks they do. Yeah. Like, why is it that that is such a thing? Yeah, mouse was a really good one. Yeah. Yeah. By Alfred Spiegelman. Yeah. That. I know there's. They have a anniversary edition now that's got parts 1 and 2 as one book that is about yay thick, I think. But it goes through I think it was Auschwitz. But it goes through the author's dad's, I believe, experience at Auschwitz. And that's one of the story presentations, I guess, where the characters are animals, and if you're reading through it, it makes sense why particular animals were chosen, because we've got the mice that were the Jews, hence mouse for the title. I believe the cats were the Nazis. I want to say the dogs were the Allied forces, but that might not be accurate. It's been a while since I read my copies. But yeah, I need to go back and read through those. And it's a really well done book. I think I want to say I first read it in 8th or 9th grade, maybe. I can't remember, but it was a while ago. I know that much. But it was really well done, and the it was one of those approaches that you really feel the story, which makes sense because it's like literally family history being told, but very well done. Yeah. I do find it interesting that we finished, like, the end of chapter 7 in this is literally them meeting their rebel queen. Tilda? Yeah. So, a decent cliffhanger. Yeah. Okay. Like, I know it's YA. Just for this. I know it's YA. and at certain points you need exposition, but there's like big chunks that is just exposition. Like, it's approached okay, sort of, in that Kiva needs to show the new guy around, so therefore we, the reader, see everything because it's being introduced. But also, I don't know. And like every other time that we're aware of, at least, that Kiva finds one of the coded notes, she's just by herself and is like going through things. And this time it's just like tucked into into the lady's skirts or something and fell out on the floor for Tip to find. Which, there's at least one guard in the room. In addition to Tip, Kiva, and what's his name? Jaren. And Tip finds the note, reads it, and then like, oh yeah, no, this thing that came in with this person who's considered a traitor to everybody, yeah, there's just like, there's, it's nothing that's on here, it's just doodles, like, there's a repeating pattern, like, I know you're 11, but like, dude, it's a repeating pattern, it's obviously words, like, come on. and like, the guard that's there just never had anything to say about it. It's just like, this is that's not a thing. She would have at least wanted to read it. That's the thing. Like, come on. Ugh. Also, the water source being the tunnels. Hello, cholera. Yeah, like, on the one hand, guard is an insider. That's the only way it makes any sense. The only way. If the guard is an insider, if the guard is part of the resistance, as it were, that's the only way it makes any sense. But like, even if that was the case, in order to maintain cover, to at least be like, oh, you found a thing? I want to see what the thing is. Like, what? Come on. Ah. But yeah, the water source is in the tunnels. Everyone gets sick in the tunnels because the water is contaminated, but the water source is the tunnels. What? How are any of these people still alive? Jesus. Like, any of them. Ugh. Honestly. Seriously. Like, yeah. I don't know. Author could be like, you weren't supposed to be using critical thinking. Like, yeah. Yeah, no. Like, if I'm gonna read something, right? Regardless of what age group it is for, I want there to at least be a few points where it's like, wait a second. That ties back to this thing. Oh, that's cool. Like, unless it's nonfiction, in which case, if it's nonfiction and it's not like, there's this thing that happened, we'll get back to that in a second. Like, linear time, that works. If it's fiction, what is happening? Ah. Anyway. So, I don't know. Let me just check something real quick. Okay. So, again, might well be running into it too much, but we've got this book. Now, I have not read any of Sarah J. Maas's books, but I do know from other commentary that she's put a lot of, like, maybe not a lot, but occasional, at least, Jewish references, Jewish lore, as part of the continuum. I think, I believe it's Mass that was doing that. And the author blurb is Sarah J. Maas. Where'd it go? The dedication is to Sarah J. Maas. Because they're friends, and from what it sounds like, at least, they're Maas might have been doing like proofreads and stuff. Kiva is Hebrew for protected. So, that's an interesting point. It's also like the underground structure in Pueblo dwellings that was used by mostly menfolk for uh, religious rites and ceremonies. But for purposes of this, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the Hebrew is probably the more intended interpretation. So yeah, there's that. Also, like, I realize that it's the context is the type setting, but being that Sherlock is a thing that exists and the Hounds of Baskerville, the the text was set in Baskerville, where in that context, in the context of the storyline, Baskerville had a whole situation where, like, there was mysterious fog and people were drugged and stuff, so there's that. At this point, we are viewing any book with praise from Mass on the cover or explicitly touted as perfect for fans of SJM with 10-foot poles. Yeah. What's Hebrew again? Kiva, the main character's name, Kiva, is Hebrew for protected, apparently. Of course, in the Hebrew, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, I realize, but there's that. Yeah. I went to Barnes & Noble to try and pick this up, and they didn't have it. They had the second one, but they didn't have the first one, so I ended up ordering it on Amazon. And and it came, and it's like, I was flipping through it, and wait, it's on dedication. And then flip back, and it's like, oh, right. Lynette Noni is a masterful storyteller, a must read for any fantasy lover. Sarah J. Maas. Okay. But yeah. Where is it? Right there. Baskerville is a common typeface. It's just a cigar. I know, but it would be hilarious if that was an additional thing. Like, I can't turn off investigative analysis brain. Especially when I'm already, like, tearing into stuff. Okay. I realize once again, it's probably just like that's how they happen to do the imagery and stuff. But we've got what looks like a jasmine here, right? So we've got the flower face coming out of a keyhole that's like an imprisoned something. And it looks like we've got a face and try to do this backwards. And two hands that are just kind of hanging outside the bars. Makes note to have future books set in meaningfully named typefaces just for in. The consideration is much appreciated, I assure you. So, like, yeah. There's that. Uh. Ow, come on. Okay. We can pick up in a couple minutes. I need to run to the facilities for a second. So I will be right back. Un momento, please. I will turn the birds back on for you. Okay. Well, if, yeah. What shenanigans should we get up to while you're gone? Our Kleenex looks like a fluffy winged ram. It's a portent. Ah, harbinger. The floof and hardhorn headbutts on wing. Expect thunderstorms, friends. That seems like a rather apt analysis of uh of that situation. Yes, yes, that seems fairly legit. Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Hello. uh, yeah. Like, there's times that like you're flipping through something and we knew you'd understand, right? Exactly. Exactly. You're flipping through something and there's like an oddly delineated marking somewhere that's just like, oh, what's that? Like, if it was a chapter break or whatever, that would make sense. If it was like, there's a random illustration, okay, that makes sense. Whatever it is between chapters 29 and 30, there's straight up just 3 black pages. Like, just there. For some reason. And then, like, there's something similar just a couple of chapters later. Yeah. Except it's like days of the week. So, presumably it's a passage of time thing. Or like, this person was knocked out for an extended period of time, therefore blackness. But like, also. Because I'm pretty sure the date or month thing, yeah, the month thing is a Twilight situation, which I only know that because someone made a comment about it, in a review on Twilight, because they managed to do that in the film adaptation fairly well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a variant of the month name thing in Twilight. So, I don't know. It was a cool idea. Yeah, yeah. If it's done in a situation that it makes sense, then yeah, it really works. So yeah, hmm. It's just not something that I've really seen before, or like there's a page that's just, yeah, exactly. So I don't know what the 3-page blackout break is around here, but like, I don't know. But yeah, there's that. Very effective in conveying the feeling. Conveying the feeling that they're going for, presumably. So, yeah, there's that. Okay. So, was there anything else that we want to discuss? I don't know. It is interesting that they, like, you would think, right? You would think that in an establishment such as this, they would have a medical practitioner conveying, working together to conceal. I mean, it works. Veiling with multiple veils. I like the definition situation happening up in here. Right, yes. I have created a new word and it actually has a meaning now. 2 meanings, actually. Yeah. Alright. Very good. very, very good. It's a group project. It's fine. But like, for the medical stuff, right? You would think convergence of multiple dimensional boundaries. I like that one. That works. Multiple dimensional boundaries, yeah. Alright. Exactly. Alright, so at this point we've got medical people who, like, even if it's just you trying to maintain a workforce and you don't care about the people themselves, you kind of want to have a medical professional on staff who is going to try and give whoever the patient is the best care possible. Which, from that perspective, I understand having one of the inmates, prisoners, whatever term you want to use, be the medical provider, because the inmates are more likely to look out for each other and actively try and provide care, presumably, than the guards or someone generally employed by the establishment might. But also, if you're constantly threatening your doctor, I don't know about that. Yeah. Kiva has a suspicious amount of knowledge for someone who entered the prison at 7, right? Like, she's 17 now, has been working as the sole, like, head medical provider since she was 12. Helped her dad with some, like, random rudimentary things when she was a kid, but has been there since she was 7. So, for the last, what? Brain's not working. Okay. Yeah, so for the first, 5 years, she was going between jobs and working under somebody. And then for the last 5 years, she's been the head of the department, essentially, because her predecessor got executed for trying to get angel dust or heroin, really, to prisoners because they were trying to deal with pain. So, what? Didn't sound like she got any on the job training either. How much of a overlap was it? Tunnel fever. Okay. Okay, so that before that. Okay, so Raz, the stable master, is passing notes and stuff. Yet angel dust is offered as a legitimate option. Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, at one point, laudanum was just a thing. So maybe maybe they're channeling that era of medical interestingness. I don't know. Okay, here we go. So nearly 2 years later, the only other inmate working in the infirmary was executed for smuggling angel dust to desperate prisoners, leaving then 12-year-old Kiva to step into his role. Okay, so yeah. She was working with whatever his name was, for 2 years as a second pair of hands, I guess. So she was doing needlecraft and whatever else for 3 years, and then one of the guards had a blood infection, and she said to use a poultice that her father had made. Yeah. Went to be executed for something lawfully dispensed. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Which, all right. If inmates can go to the infirmary when they're not feeling well, or have injuries to get them tended to. The only reason that it would be an issue that I can see, at least, is if they were like in solitary or something, which it doesn't seem like solitary is even a thing. They just get chucked in the abyss or whatever it is. So, yeah, that's a whole plot bunny that I don't know if it got the tangles combed out of its fur on that one. I don't know about that. The same facility. Yeah. The problem was the guards didn't get a cut. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's that. Yeah. Presumably, at least. So, no. Don't know. Oh. Alright. How much for next time? Um. Okay, we went through 7. So if we aim to get through 14, that'd be like just under half. Sound good? Mm. All right. Okay. All right. Also, right. Bit of a side tangent. Not that that ever happens around these parts. I realize. Ah. I was organizing stuff so I can get to the sewing machine in the next couple days because I kind of need it, and rediscovered some plant type books for like future stuff. I don't know. We'll see. So we've got Greenheart. That's apparently a combination of 2 novels that yeah, it looks like they're fairly short, so we could even do, I don't know, one at a time, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. If that's a thing, I'll link all of them in the Discord after. We've got The Garden of Eve, The Castle Behind Thorns, Weed Flower, and Conjure Woman. So I don't know about weed flower, but I know that, well, I'm fairly sure at least that these three are children's lit. So, I don't know, we'll see. But there's that. Yay, sewing machine success. Yes, yes. Sewing machine access is awesome sauce. Also, I now have an HDMI cable. So, in theory, when I get stuff set up, I'm gonna be able to do streams from the camera. So we'll see about that. Basically, I haven't tested it yet. So hopefully it works. And with I realized that Halloween was yesterday and all that, but pumpkin bats, because reasons. So yeah, that's how stuff be doing around these parts. Yeah. And I'm planning, because I have the fleece and stuff, I'm planning to do a bee version of Bob Thulu. Shortish. So nope, don't be running off, thanks. So we'll see how that works on that. And I've got I've got the tie-dye wings and fuzzy black velour cut out to do a black and tie-dye version of the Snugglebat 2 over there. So there's that. Whether or not it makes it to the event on Saturday, I have no idea. We shall see. It might just get posted to Etsy. I don't know. I just know that this little buddy is mine. Yeah. If any books are serious contenders, please add to spreadsheet. Yeah, no, totally. Totally will do. Totally will do. But yeah, this has some interesting bits. But also the cover's a really nice color. I'll say that. Yeah. Would like to do the Lily in the Crown or Wolfskin next personally. Yeah. Where is my copy of Wolfskin? I know I have it. Don't remember where it is. I seriously like giant tie-dye, but yeah. I totally thought that my copy of Wolfskin was like with the other books in like the mythos section, but apparently it's not. It might be in the closet, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Probably behind something. All the more reason to get up there and check it out. So we'll see what happens on that. Yeah. Anyway. That's all. Alright. Yeah. Anyway. Any final thoughts or whatnot for this round? Oh. Alright, one sec. We did have a good botany-based discuss. We did. We did indeed. It was indeed a good discuss. So, yeah. Anyway, is anybody on right now? I don't know. So that's it really from my end. Is there anyone doing things right now? Okay. So, I'm in need of food. I need to go do stuffs. Yeah, we've got there's a few like art folks doing random stuff, but I'm not really seeing anybody at the moment. So, yeah. With that, I think we'll call it a night. Yeah. Have a super fabulous rest of your evening, rest of your day. I will see y'all next time. Thursday, same time, if nothing else. And yeah, hopefully by Thursday, there will be a IRL camera set up. We shall see. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Bye, friends. Have a good one. And yes, all of the hugs. That's not how you. Wow. There we go. All of the hugs. Have a good one, friends. Bye, everybody. And remember, chapters 8 through 14 for next time. Alright. See you later. Bye now.